a lot because of that man and Mike Mayock, the draft picks that we made that I know Schrags is going to talk about in a minute. Raiders 26-24. Eric Harris, the man, the myth, the legend.
Man of the hour.
And he goes to the table and he joined our Thursday night football crew because, of course, he did. Have at it.
It's a blessing, and, I just want to give a shout-out to everybody that's been involved and part of my life. I couldn't do it with those people and the support of my family. And, like I keep saying, the teammates around me just make me better, and the coaches believe in me, and it's different when you go out there and you play with more confidence, you play a little more free, you're not real robotic out there. So shout out to those people.
Hey, Eric, when your dreams weren't coming to fruition, and you're working in a potato chip factory and going, I still want to play football. Right. Did you ever dream of sitting right here after a couple of big interceptions?
The great Moose right here.
Right.
That's the key.
Did you ever dream about this kind of moment that you've had? You're the star of the show, man.
Never would have thought this. Honestly, it's a great platform to have, but I'm not really the guy that like this type of spotlight, to be honest. My spotlight ends when my helmet comes off.
Love this story. Take a look at the resume sponsored by The Checkdown, which we know and love. He was a D2 walk-on. He went undrafted in 2012, did not get any rookie minicamp invites. He worked as a potato chip corn mixer at a factory and a part-time at UPS to make money. He even played in the CFL. And then circumstances gave him a shot, and he balled out against Phillip Rivers, who beat Pennywise but lost to a duck.
Isn't that crazy? Okay. What a year.
Phillip Rivers thing ever. So yesterday we talked about, especially you, Schrags, about the Raiders having an opportunity to get back into the national conversation. They did it.
Yeah, they are, and they're talking about the Raiders this morning, and yesterday we did a Coach of the Year conversation. I think John Gruden strolled right into that conversation as well. You go on a 48-day road trip, and you come out of that thing and are somehow above 500 going into November. That is special stuff, but I'm looking at our former colleague and what they're building there in Oakland, and last night's production from the rookies. Mike Mayock, the GM, he drafted guys he called cornerstone players. Look at some of these picks that all played well. Cleve Farrell had 2.5 sacks. People mocked that pick, 4th overall. Josh Jacobs scores the game-winning touchdown. Foster Moreau scored a touchdown last week. Max Crosby was unblockable. And in the clutch, it was Hunter Renfrow, a 5th-round pick, who was a star at Clemson but was told was too small and too slow to play in the NFL, who was the go-to guy that entire final drive. Love what the Raiders are building. And last year, we spent a lot of time on the show laughing at the fact they traded away Khalil Mack and traded away Amari Cooper. We're already seeing the benefit of it. And if you're a New York Jets fan this morning, a Cincinnati Bengals fan, a Miami Dolphins fan, it can happen that fast. You just have to make the right picks. So far, we're 10 weeks through the season. Mike Mayock has made all the right picks, and that's without even maybe their best rookie, Jonathan Abram, who got hurt in week 1.
Nate, they're half game back of the Colts for the last wild card spot. Right now, they're a game back of the Chiefs in the AFC West. Are the Raiders back?
Yeah, they're back for right now. I mean, time will tell. I mean, the record still speaks for itself. They're 5-4, excuse me. So they're going to have to continue to stack games like this together until they get to the postseason. But for me, it wasn't about the coaches. It's not about the players. I mean, congrats to them on the W. I mean, it's about the fan base. For so long, we've been sleeping on this team, and you know what? They deserve to be slept on. They were asleep as an organization. But all of a sudden, they started playing with a little fire and desire, and that fan base of the Oakland Raiders, they were up and they were alive. They are in the transition phase of the impending, now inevitable move to Las Vegas, and the fans were there as if the stadium was going to be around for the rest of their lives. And I love seeing that. You know, I can also appreciate Gruden after the game, going out there, dapping up the fans, hugging the women. Like that right there shows that he is locked in, bought in, and the fans are reciprocating that energy.
Hand up. I didn't think John Gruden was going to work. I really didn't. When they hired him, I always thought, he won a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team, and then he never won another playoff game, and he's doing the wing commercials and the broadcasting. He's great. When they brought him back, it just felt like digging up an old retread, and he stows up and saying, I don't believe in sabermetrics. It just felt like the game had passed him. He looks great.
Mea culpa?
Maybe so. I mean, they're 5-4, and they matter. They didn't matter before he got here.
Everybody, it is time for Top 5 Friday, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Here are some options. These are the top 5 fantasy values for Week 10. You're still in this thing, but you have 6 teams to deal with on a bye. The Patriots, Texans, Jaguars, the Broncos, the Eagles, and the Redskins. At quarterback, I like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going against Seattle. As you know, Kyle Brandt or Trent or Jared or whoever his name was loves him. So do I. He's coming off his first 4-touchdown game of his career, and he's developed a legit connection with Emmanuel Sanders, who got the best of Patrick Peterson a week ago. The Seahawks have gotten lit up by guys like Jameis Winston, by Matt Schaub over the last 2 weeks. They've given up close to 400 yards through the
It is awesome, and it's awesome to watch for a non-Raiders fan, what have you. There's also something awesome tangentially related to that game.
Okay.
About 20 minutes ago, P. Schrags and I were down there, or rather Jared and Trent were, for part of our Wall Streeters segment, all right, where we just absolutely freak out. And the best part of that segment, no matter what Peter and I could do, is always the people in the background who don't give a bleep about what we're doing. It's New York. And yet the segment ends, and a gentleman walks up to us, and Peter, what happened?
This gentleman walks up, a gentleman probably, I would say, 40s, 50s, walks up and says,
He's got
"Go Bolts." He's wearing a Chargers jacket.
Chargers jacket in Manhattan.
Well, that's odd. Kyle, who was it?
Give us the picture.
What do we got
of
here?
all the people you can run into, he says, "Guys, I love the show. I'm Michael Badgley's father, the Chargers kicker."
The Money Badger's dad?
That's Mr. Money Badger.
That's
Chris
lying.
Badgley.
Chris.
He said, "We live in Summit, New Jersey. I work on Wall Street. Walked by, saw a commotion. Just so happens to be the kicker from last night's father." And at the end, he's like, "We got to make, we got to get
He's got to get it together. We got to get this thing. Last night, Joe Buck's going on and on about the Money Badger. This man's son, who by pure coincidence, so New York, walks up to Jared and Trent. It's like, "I love the show. We're all heaving breath, and I'm all disheveled. It's
And
amazing."
so did he sit there and watch you talk about cola products?
And he works on Wall Street?
He's a Wall Streeter himself.
Isn't that amazing?
Well,
His
how
son
does he
works
feel
in
about
LA.
the Chargers?
He said we got
I
to get
think
it back
we took our
together.
lumps, but he was positive. He was positive, and maybe it's because this kid just got there. But it was really, really cool. Chris Badgley, of all people.
That's it.
You blew my mind.
It all comes
Badger,
full
Yes. Isn't that crazy? And then we're walking back. We ran into All Rivers kids. They were there
all
too.
nine of
All right, time for a bit of an update with
Badgley.
things going on around the league. Ian Rappaport, I hear there are some rumors about a colleague, one of our favorites here at the breakfast table, who might be headed to the Sunshine State. Tell us more.
There's so much going on in the NFL world, but let's turn our attention for the second to the college football world. The biggest story right now in college football is who is going to be the next coach at Florida State. Of course, they fired Willie Taggart after just 2 seasons, and another frustrating campaign for Willie Taggart. This opening now has drawn some big attention, some big names, and few bigger than Deion Sanders. That's right. Sources tell me and Mike Garafolo that our colleague, Deion Sanders, the NFL Network analyst and Hall of Fame cornerback, has emerged as a prime candidate to take the Florida State head coaching job. Obviously, Sanders is one of the faces of that college, one of their most notable alumnus, and he has kept in contact, remained close with several players who graduated Florida State, serving as a mentor for them. He has always been about that college, and now potentially has the opportunity to serve as their head coach. We've seen a lot of big names floated for that one. Obviously, this is something we certainly will keep an eye on. This Florida State head coaching search is going to heat up pretty fast.
I appreciate the update, Ian Rappaport. I mean, that's the NFL Network Insider. This is legitimate news.
That's
He's
it.
a candidate.
If Mike Garafolo and Ian Rappaport have a report on the NFL Network, it has to go through so many different channels before it hits the air, and it's got to be valid. And he also has to be a so there's validity into this. Obviously, that the Florida State guys are thinking about Deion. Whether Deion's taking that call, I can't tell you. But I will say this: I am excited to hear the news because Deion Sanders brings such excitement to a dormant program over the last couple of years. And if I'm a high school recruit, is there anyone you would rather want to see come walking through your living room than Deion Primetime Sanders saying, "Hey, we want you to be a Knoll"? This is exciting.
What do you think, Nate?
Shout out to Primetime, man. Just keep on winning. At the very least, the price just went up.
Look, this might just be the beginning. Like, this is a keeping up with the Joneses thing. I think the Miami Hurricanes have no choice but to hire Michael Irvin as the head coach. How are you gonna lose all the recruits? Who does Florida
He's
hire?
gonna run out of breath.
Taylor?
He's gonna run out of breath the first press conference.
I know, but they'll get those kids though. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing.
When does he leave us?
Probably.
Hey,
Sad.
NFL Network better get that bag
I'm
ready.
the only one that's kind of mixed feelings about this. I'm
Big
sad.
We need to pay him to stay.
We're trying to help him out, you know? So we're
Actually,
here.
he can go.
Of course.
Save some for the rest of us.
He'll tell you the secret to the Ravens' success this season, and it's not just Lamar Jackson, and it's how the Packers bounced back after their worst